Okay, gang. I get a lot of questions about the graphic design application of Autocad beyond the objects and machine style parts that you draw as part of the book. So I thought I would record a nice long tutorial for you to show you how I use AutoCAD as a graphic designer. Most of the interaction I have with AutoCAD on my Mac is with printed template designs, die lines, folds, die cuts, die punches, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my AutoCAD for you guys and do a nice tutorial of the basic skills that I use using the Autodesk application. And there are several Autodesk tools, from Inventor to 3D Max to AutoCAD to Maya. I mean, there's just a long list. And here's AutoCAD, how I use the drafting and design tools. And I primarily use the polyline. So let me go in here and open up my DWG file. So I'll go in here, and many times from the printing and large packaging companies, I get DWG files that I may have to go in and trace, recreate, make modifications to. And so I'll go ahead and open up this new box template. Now, when you open it up in AutoCAD 2015, you're actually going to get, so let's go in here and get this open. You're going to get a little dialog window that asks you whether you want to open it as a DWG file in there in the AutoCAD program. So you'll see continue opening, and I'm actually going to go ahead and say yes, that I would like to do that. And you're going to see it loads AutoCAD. You're going to see your toolbar, you're going to see your layers palette, you're going to see all the things that you guys interact with the more industrial objectives side of design. So we'll go ahead and load this, and you'll see my artwork here. I can hold down the space bar and I can kind of pan around a little bit. Let me go ahead and close the updates for you. And you'll notice over here in the layers palette that it has brought in my artwork. So I'll click the little eyeball on that. You'll notice that it does the graphics and it does the structure. So I'm going to go in now and I'm going to lock each one of these, because those are the ones that were pre-populated. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to call that layer my redraw layer. So I'll go ahead and do that. So now you can see the redraw layer, and that's the layer I'm going to be interacting on. You can see the layer properties down here that it's on, and it's a plot setup, and I don't have anything frozen. I do like to go over here and use my polyline. So I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see what's going on. And I'm going to grab my space bar and kind of pan around a little bit, and then you'll see my black outline. You'll see my my red lines, which are my cut lines and fold lines, and you can see how those are panels and how they're functioning. And so now I'm going to go ahead and pan over here, and I don't really care about my dimensions, my 5 and 7/16 and my 13 and that sort of thing, because it's scalable. As I complete my drawing as a DWG file, I can go ahead and save it as a new DWG file. I can open that up in Illustrator, and I can fill the box. I can add imagery, I can import logos, I can do everything that I need to use the template once I have it created. So I'm going to go over here to the polyline. So let me just use my mouse and kind of move it on over here. And so I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to move my mouse down, and I'm going to start right on the corner here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tap my mouse down to start my point, and I'm going to take my line, I'm going to move it on over here, and you can kind of see the direction that I'm going with it. I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now I'm going to right click, and I'm just going to make sure that my snap settings are turned off, because I don't want any of the on snap properties turned on for my design, because I want to be able to free draw. I don't want anything finding its nearest quadrants or anything like that. So you'll notice now I'm going to go ahead and just start taking my line, and I'm going to follow along the template, and I have it zoomed in so you can kind of see how I'm going. And I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go ahead and add that point. I'm going to go in the corner here. Now I'm going to take my angle here. And right when I get to the tip, I'm going to go ahead and right-click on this node. And you're going to notice that by right-clicking, it gives me access to draw the arch. and I'm actually going to create an ever so slight arch here. Go ahead and click there, and then I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to change back to my line tool. So I'm going to do a little bit of a straight line here to kind of continue my tab, and then once I do that, I'm going to go and do another arch. So I'm going to bring that down, and I'll go ahead and click once there. And so let's right click on that dot and just make sure that I'm still in line. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm in line. Then I'm going to use my space bar, and I'm going to pan across a little bit. And so now you notice I'll be able to draw this straight line again. So I'll go ahead and hold down shift and give myself a straight line. And then I'll do a little indent line there. And then when I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and right click. I'm going to do a very slight arch again. So I'm going to take that to about there. Then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to do a line. I like to alternate my arches and my lines just to kind of give me variation. So then I'll go back to the arch, and so I'll kind of curve this a little bit around the end. Go ahead and then right click, go back to my line. Then we'll go ahead and take that down. Then there's a little bit of an indent right there. And you'll notice that I am just slowly working away this line. And I'm using my polyline for each of the lines I'm drawing. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then I have a slight indent or a tab there. I'm going to hold down shift again, do my last little indent, and then I'll bring this straight line again. Let me hold my space bar down so I can move a little bit so I can see the direction I have to go. And so I'll keep going here. And I can see my line goes all the way down to here. So I'll go ahead and do that one. And then I'll indent this one a little bit. And I turned all of my snap lines off, and that way I can stick with my quadrants the way I need them to be. So let's go ahead and pan this cross again. And so I am methodically and slowly going around each one of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my outline first. And so let's keep going. And you guys have been doing some just amazing drawings with some of the more complicated math coordinates that are required in Autocad. So I'll go ahead and do that. And so now I can hit my space bar. And once I'm done, I hit my space bar. And then I can select the line that I just created. So space bar, and then select my line. And I'm going to go over here to my line properties. And you'll see it right down here. So I'm going to go ahead and boost up my line weight just so it's a little bit thicker. So you can see it. And I'm actually going to keep it white. And that way you can see exactly what I'm creating and how I'm creating it. So I made that a little bit thicker. And so now let's just zoom out a little bit. And you'll notice that I've gone around my entire template. Well, now I have some black lines. I have some red lines I need to introduce. And I actually prefer to have, so let's take a look at some of these. We'll zoom in a little bit. I actually prefer to have my red lines as blue. So when I create mine, I'll go in here now. And I'm going to click my mouse right here. And then I'm going to extend it across. I'm going to tap it right there. And I'm going to hit my space bar, which will highlight. And I can go ahead and it releases my line. It lets me select it. So now I'm going to go down here to my line type. Then I'm going to go in and pick my stagger dash right here. So it will be line 1. I'm going to go ahead and boost up the line weight. So let's make it a little bit thicker. That's maybe a little bit too thick. So let's go to about a 0.2. There we go. And then I'm going to go in here and change my color. So let's go ahead and make it a blue line. Alright, so let's make it a little bit thicker, just so that it matches the template a little bit more. There we go. Okay, and I hit my space bar and I release that. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to create each of my lines so you can see what I'm doing here. So let's go in and I'm going to create each one of my lines here. So let's drag this one. So let's get that placed, and we know that this is a panel fold. So I'm going to go in here and create each one of these. And even though that's a die punch, I'm going to go ahead just short of the die punch. Click that, hit my space bar to release it. And then let's go over here and select it. And let's go in and make it blue like we did the other ones. So we'll go ahead and make that blue. We're going to go ahead and make it have a line thickness. I think we did about a 0.3 on the previous one. So that's good. And then let's make it our line type 1. Alright, and then we'll hit the space bar to release that. And then I'll go over to my polyline again. And I'll go in here and create my next line. Hit the space bar to select it. Go ahead and change it to line type 1. Go ahead and change it to blue. Oh, let's make sure it's selected. Let's grab that baby. Make it blue. Make my line type 1. And make my line weight about 0.3. So there you go. Hit the space bar to release it. Hold down my space bar so that I can pan around my image and you can see exactly what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my line in there. And I'm going to go across to here. Let's tap it there. And then I'm going to come on down to here. Tap it there. And then I'm going to finish off the line. I'll hit the space bar. I always like to go back up here to my select tool. Let's go ahead and grab it. Let's go into my lines so they all look good. Everything's been default set based on my previous exercise, and we'll go ahead and change the thickness. And so hit the space bar to deselect. And so let's hide some of the other ones. So let's zoom out here a little bit. Go to Command minus, and you can see the lines I've been creating. And so let's go ahead and hide the structure, hide the graphic, hide the artwork. And you can see exactly how my template is being created here. And I'm retracing, literally retracing the template that I have. And I have about 30 or so packaging or printing templates very similar to this one that are excellent for just practicing the polyline, understanding the arch mechanism, remembering that the right hand click is your friend, and it makes life a lot easier. So let me go ahead and turn this back on and turn this back on and turn structure back on. And then I'm going to unlock structure and use my select tool here and go ahead and see that. So watch what happens if I'm gonna lock the redraw. And so then when I select all, I have everything but the redraw. And I actually could hide the redraw if I wanted for a second. Let's hide our redraw. And then let's do the select all and fill that stroke in white. Okay, alright, so there it is. And just so that you could see that I could have punched that to white before I started tracing it. I like to keep it that way, though. I like to keep it black. You just have to be aware of what it is, what it looks like, and what you're drawing. And you can see that I could slowly and methodically, I'm not worried about the text on the panels because I know what they are. I'm not worried about the measurement arrows. I'm just worried about the tracing and the drawing aspect of it. So let's zoom in a little bit. Let me use my space bar. And then let's just deal with the little die circle that's here. So let's go ahead and punch my die circle. So I'll go ahead and create that. Let's undo that for a second and let's just take it from the middle. So let's go in and create our... I forgot that I'd set the radius to that for you guys. And so now I can create my die. And so then we'll go ahead and select that one, and we'll go ahead and switch that to white just so it's consistent with the punch lines, which are the outside lines. And so we don't need that one to be a dash. And let's go ahead and change the line weight there to a 0.3 so you can see it. Hit the space bar to deselect. And so let's zoom out here a little bit, and there's the template. And this is what I do 95% of the time as it relates to AutoCAD. I use the polyline. I right-click on my first point when I lay down my first coordinate, and I turn off the snap guides so that I can use it as a line segment and an arching tool, and I can literally recreate any of the elements that I would need to recreate in Illustrator to build boxes and print designs and die lines and die cuts and punches. And I keep my dash lines for my folds. I keep my solid strokes for my punches, and I let that color palette be something that I remember when I bring into Illustrator. So let's go ahead in here and we'll turn off. Let's go ahead and turn off some of the other things that we have there, so you can see exactly what mine look like. So I'll go in here and do a save as over to the desktop, and I'll do redraw. Save that to the desktop. And let's go into my desktop. And you'll notice that here is mine with my newly drawn, recreated, and traced packaging. I'm going to go ahead and upload this video over to YouTube. And then I'll share it with the professor and let him show it to you at the beginning of class or during class. And I'll also provide you with many templates for redrawing and recreating, and it'll get you a little more comfortable with the line tools in AutoCAD, and it'll also give you the graphic design spin to AutoCAD and what AutoCAD is used for as a graphic designer, less as a drafter and architect, and more of a designer, which many of you may be more interested in. So I hope this helps you out. I hope this gives you a little practice, a little exercise, and practice. The line tool is vital. Polyline tool is vital in understanding printed templates for working in machine industry, for working in print shops, and maybe in construction and engineering firms, but as a graphic designer, more so than a modeler. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and have fun tracing and drawing some of the complex designs that you'll be drawing, and you can see how our line work is coming along. Okay guys, bye.